Today we'll focus on what really makes the poor poor. First of all, you've got to understand I wrote a book several years ago on waging war against poverty. The truth is that many nations are held in poverty, lack, and possibly challenges because of poor governance, poor leadership, and sometimes bad followership. However, what makes the poor poor is not only about leadership of a nation. There are wealthy nations with very poor people. What is the manifestation of poverty? Why are people poor? How do you know poverty? Poverty is really creating the wealth of nations for the rich to enjoy. That is the truth, even though it may be a hard pill to swallow. You create the wealth for other people to enjoy. Poverty is also making do with leftovers, second hands, and rejected things. Leftovers, second hand, rejected things. For those of you who know the Bible, you can find that in Leviticus 23 verse 22, where it says, "And when you reap the harvest of your land, you shall not make clean riddance of the corners of the field when you reap. Neither shall you gather and glean all your harvest. You shall leave them for the poor and the stranger. I am the Lord your God." What is poverty? Poverty is having no choice as to where you take your residency. Imagine the city in which you live. I'm sure you know. Wealth, or the lack of it, determines where people live. East, west, north, or south. You already know the areas where the wealthy live and where the poor live. That is part of what defines and what the picture of poverty is like. What is poverty? Poverty is being despised by friends and rejected by all and sundry. Somehow, people do not want to continue to associate with an atmosphere of lack. Even in all matters, people want to relate to those who have. What is poverty? Poverty is being under perpetual rule of the wealthy. If you like it or not, that is the truth. In the good book, the Bible, Proverbs 22 verse 7 says, "The rich rule over the poor. Borrowers are servants of lenders." What is poverty? What does it do? It determines the joy and the work pace of your family. Poverty makes a person to be limited in their capacity, in their opportunity, and in the ability to deliver many things of life. What is poverty? Poverty is having no say in your own matters and other people having to speak for you. Because you see, until we really define poverty in the way that I'm doing it, someone might just think that it is the absence of designer clothes, and you can wear the clothes and buy status but not have the class. What is poverty? Poverty is doing all the hard work and someone else taking the credit for all the work you did. That is an extreme of poverty. What is poverty? Poverty is you work so hard and it's always slipping out of your hand, even from the beginning of the function. Poor people tend to find that before the end of the month, most times they are broke. And if they think they are saving, they save pennies. Yeah, they say a penny saved, but let's face it, a penny saved is still a penny. I know these are harsh definitions of poverty, but they are the harsh realities of life. What is poverty? It is having very little harvest for very hard labor. Go and check it out. The people who work the hardest tend to have the smallest. This is a manifestation of poverty. What is poverty? It is having to work in a place you don't like, with people you don't like, earning a salary you don't like, for the people you don't like or they don't like you. That is poverty. What is poverty? It is that which keeps you and the generations that come out of you in a place where you are perpetually poor, and your actions mean that it stays long because the poor tend to break the laws of wealth. Make sure you stay on the Wealth Master class to learn about the irrevocable laws of wealth creation. Poverty is a terrible chain. A man can walk free in his land, and yet he is under unbelievable, terrible bondage. Poverty can show where there is laziness. Poverty can show where there is the wrong company. In other words, the person you see and move with can determine the benefits that comes to you and the favor that flows to you. Poverty also means that you don't have the right kind of contacts. You know, a link is not just a link. What you are connected to determines. Are you connected to a 220, 230 power volt? Or you are connected to a place where the capacity is not strong enough to bring you out of lack and poverty? You see, many times people have thought poverty is just about race, skin, and background, but it is bigger than that. It is also a mindset. Poverty is a terrible thing that holds people down. When poverty manifests in a person's life, it gives rise to family fights and constant arguments. 85% of domestic challenges have to do with money. 85% of domestic challenges have to do with money. Poverty means that once you lack in one area, it has a knock-on effect on the other areas. Say, for example, there is no money. Therefore, your children have to go to the schools which you really do not feel is best for them. Pass rate is very low. Chances of going beyond the nursery, primary, secondary level is very slim because of poverty. Poverty is a bad experience. It means that you don't have enough strength to face the challenges ahead. In an atmosphere of poverty, when sickness or diseases show up, the poor have to make do with the cheapest drugs. And let's face it, all those pharmaceuticals were not set up to make life easy for you and I. The more expensive the drugs, the more effective incidentally they are. The power of the drug, the efficacy of the drug is often tied to also how the pharmaceutical companies try to make money out of it. Look at the challenge of COVID. Nations that are experiencing intense death is also where there is a lack. Some who can afford it have flown out to go get their vaccination elsewhere, even before the vaccine got to their country. Poverty means that you lose everything. Sometimes the poor lose their children, lose their spouses, lose their accommodation, lose their means of transportation. I know I'm painting a grim picture of poverty today, but we need to do this in order for you to realize that, hey, do I really want to continue to live at the bus stop called lack when I live in a world of abundance? You see, poverty makes a man have a sense of lack in every area of his life. Being poor does not mean that a man is not intelligent. Some of the most gifted children in the world are in some poor ghetto somewhere. I cannot forget watching a video of one of the favelas of Brazil, of a young boy who constantly, when they gave them assignments and it required going on the internet, there was hardly any Wi-Fi in the favelas. That's the word for ghettos in Brazil. There was hardly any Wi-Fi in the area where he lived, and his family had to share one telephone with which to do the assignments. This boy, being desirous to really experience growth and do well in his education, would always stop at the electronic shop in the city and act as if he was looking at their various iPads and phone. Unknown to them, he was using it to do his assignment. Until one day, one of the shopkeepers came close and noticed and said, "Why are you always here?" He said, "We don't have enough Wi-Fi or tool to do my assignment. I come here and use it to make my assignment." Of course, there was a crowdfunding, and the boy's story became a national story. But you see, that's what the impact poverty can have. It perpetually holds generation. Where there is poverty, there's a sense of emptiness and a sense of lack. I know I'm beating it hard, but you see, I've been through that valley before. I came from an intense poor background where we were so poor people used to call us poor. Matter of fact, the poverty of my family didn't need 4 letters to spell out poor. You just needed 2 letters, P-O, po. Poverty is terrible. It tells that person the lie that they can never succeed, that good things never happen to them, and that's not true. There are brilliant young people and incredibly gifted men and women in poor settings. That's the reason why, if you are connected to today, you need to like this video, even though it's an ouch video. Watch it, watch other videos we've shared on wealth creation, so that you can break the cycle with yourself and raise kids in a better atmosphere. You know, there are so many people who would rather talk about poverty and talking about raising funds for the poor. How about teaching people to come out of it? Poverty is making it look like a good education is not enough. Who needs education? Who needs this kind of this? Who need that? We all need good education. We need to expand our minds. Your children, you'll be amazed what your children can do, what they can achieve, where they can go. Poverty makes everyone else to know what to do to come out of their mess, except you. When a man feels he's poor, it is amazing that even though it is an absence of finance, it begins to creep to other areas. Emotional poverty, mental poverty, because he just cannot afford to get access to quality information that will make his mind to become stretched so he can become the best. I'm going to push a little further and tell you some of the consequences of poverty. You see, we want the poor to really break out of the cycle. And many times, society is not set up to break you out. You have to make the decision, one step at a time. So make sure you like this video, go to our website and connect with us. And if this video is broken into part 2, part 3, make sure you get to watch all of it. You see, poverty separates you from your friends and makes your relations to hate you and treat you like you don't even exist, like you're not there. Poverty means that a person, other people who have an economic advantage tend to dominate you and determine. Have you noticed? The wealthy always speak for the poor, as if the poor have no mind of their own. Poverty as a spirit poisons people's dream and takes it away from them, makes them just believe, oh, I'm not good enough. The byproduct of poverty are things like a lack of education, backwardness, settling for the crumbs, prostitution, cheap laboring, living as if there is no tomorrow, risk, and many times homelessness. Poverty is a terrible power that can hold a person. And when a poor person faces battles of life, they act as if they cannot come out of it. They keep rolling with the negative, from one negative to the other. First it was headache, then it was this other pain. Then they eat, with all due respect, sometimes the cheapest of meals that may not be the healthiest. We've noticed Apparently, COVID could probably not have had some effect on some of our best friends if people had qualified what went into their body. But oftentimes, people eat what they can afford to beat the hunger pang. Poverty results in people burying the giftings they have, the abilities they have, and it has physical effect. Sometimes health issues, mental issues, relational issues come out of poverty. I know this is a grim picture I have painted today, and in this setting I may not share totally with you how to come out of it, but one thing I know is this: you live in a world of abundance. Yes, whichever country you are in the world where you are watching, you live in a world of abundance. Let me take, for example, the place where you have a prevalence of poverty is Africa. Yet, 95% of coltan in your phone is only found in Africa. 60% of global uranium for making nuclear energy is only found in Africa. Large concentration of gold is only found in Africa. Many other quality minerals and some of the latest minerals used in the world of advanced technology, robotics, chip making, a large percentage are in Africa. Africa represents 35% of crude oil exportation. A large chunk of natural gas, probably somewhere around 40 to 50% of the natural gas in the world is in Africa. But yet, the highest concentration of poverty is also in that continent.